Good evening, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. Thank you so much everyone who have been helping, subscribing to my channel, sharing with family and friends, and clicking notification bell, clicking like. Subscribing is free. With the YouTube channel, subscription is free and you don't need to register or anything like that. You just click, it takes only seconds. So thank you so much everyone who have been helping. And if you are new, subscribe to this channel and watch the videos and leave a comment below. I need to know what you're thinking, if you like something, if you don't like something, or if something is actually you need me to talk about something else, and I will find out how interested you are. Then normally I do a research and then talk about things. And today we are going to talk about money in the United Kingdom. We have been talking about money in the United Kingdom given by the United Kingdom government to people who need help. Watch this video and the rest of the video so that it makes sense. Is policy and law regarding what help the government gives. And I've been doing this for close to a year, more than 1 year now. I've been talking about the cost of living crisis. And if you watch the rest of the video, you will know that I said there, and I also say here, that the cost of living is related to income. If you're having an income problem, which means your income is low, and people who have high in level of income actually don't suffer the cost of living crisis. The cost of living crisis actually represents poverty. It doesn't. It may sound complicated when the media talks about it, or when different people talk about the cost of living crisis. It may sound extremely complicated to many people, but the simple fact is that about the cost of living crisis is poverty. And poverty in the United Kingdom is wrong because the people of the UK should not be poor, in the sense that Britain is a rich country, the 6th richest country in the world, and it has a developed world, it's a developed country, and at face value there is no poverty in the United Kingdom, but there is, because the incidences such as the cost of living crisis actually evidencing, it betrays society. So I'm talking about income because of the cost of living crisis, which is a major issue now. Going forward, it's going to go on. It's about poverty, it's about social injustice. Because if the government was actually doing the right thing, which it does so many right things. Over the decades, government has been doing so many right things. That's why we are where we are. So many players in society have been doing so many right things. That's why we are where we are. The problem is injustice, which needs to be corrected. The level of income, if you work for living, if you don't work for living, in a country like the United Kingdom, which I'm talking about, the level should go up. And that is the main reason why I'm talking about money given to the people of Britain. Also, in terms of money, how to get it should be simplified. Also, if you're actually working for a living, work should be simplified as well. There are so many types of contract workers, employee, self-employed, which is okay, but it has to be simplified. Employee should have adequate rights within law, and this is lacking in my opinion. And also going forward, maybe next year, I'll be talk about employment, because employment relates to income. It is the same with benefit, with money given by the government. It's called benefit in the United Kingdom. It's like a grant. It's money given to you. You don't borrow it, it's given to you, and because you need it. Otherwise, you won't survive. That is the nature of the thing. So I've been talking about, and watch this and watch the rest of the video. And I appreciate what you have been up to so far, and continue watching. Now, if you watch this video and the rest of the video, I've said, claim if you actually want work, you look for work, and you sign a contract with your employer, and you agree on the terms of the contract. If you want to claim the money given to the United Kingdom people, it's called benefit. A lot of people have different views about benefit. Benefit include money, which actually for your livelihood. If you're sick, you also get money. If you're pregnant, you get money. If you are actually working, you get money. Something called, it depends on your circumstance. Something called tax credit. You get things like tax credit. Those are actually, even pension is benefit, because if you retire, you get benefit. If somebody dies, you get a bereavement payment. That is the benefit. So the first thing for the British people is to understand what benefit is, because they are scattered all over the place. If you get energy and you're in debt, you might be able to get grants from energy company. These are also benefit, because they are supported by the government. Whatever money is given to you through private companies is actually supported by the government one way or the other, because private companies are not designed to provide help. They actually sell things to you. They don't give you anything free of charge. So that's what I'm been talking about. I'm doing actually voice recording. I will be doing a template, and for the foreseeable future. So I will be mixing it up going forward. Maybe after maybe next week, or whichever, whatever is available, I'm going to use it. I'm going to use it. So on this occasion, I'll be using template. Thank you so much for your support and for your perseverance. It has been a very exciting experience doing this project. Thank you so much for this opportunity. YouTube, a big up for YouTube, and also for other YouTubers who have been really, because I spend more time watching other YouTubers than watching my material, because in watching what other people do, it's so encouraging to me, and it also helps me to learn different skills. And there's a lot of information if you listen to YouTubers, content creators. You learn all sorts of things. I mean, I walk all over the world while sitting on my couch, sitting on my couch, actually, watching YouTube. You can go to America, you can go to Europe. So we live in exciting times, and my desire is for more people actually to participate, either viewing or actually being content creators or participating in some other ways. And a lot of people use YouTube on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, within a month. Up to I think about over 2 billion people actually use YouTube every month, every week. About 100 million. Over 100 million people use it every day. Check online for these statistics and just overcheck it, double check it. So there is something called New Style Employment and Support Allowance. New Style Employment and Support Allowance is a sickness benefit. If you're sick in the United Kingdom, watch the rest of the video. If you're sick, the information is actually repeatable, but there are subtle differences because they are quite detailed. And if you need this kind of information for yourself, fine. If you need this information for somebody else, fine. If you need this information for just knowledge, that is fine. It is your world, it's your life. The information, you can find it at the government website in the United Kingdom. If you're in Europe or America or Asia or in Africa, go to your government website as well. The UK website is gov.uk. Gov.uk. Yours may be gov. Something else in any of the European countries. And make sure in your life, if you're a child, if you're an adult, if you're a young person, let the internet be your best friend. There are all sorts of support. There is a lot of information. You can actually do your degree online on the internet or even using YouTube, because there is a lot of information. It is work in progress for every content creator because so costly. Ordinary people are actually now creating contents on online, which is actually a plus. Social media like YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or even Google, other Google facilities. There are more and more and more. We live in really exciting times. So let us go back to talking about the support. It is money. It's complex. The process of getting it is complex. I say the government should simplify how to get it and also how to sustain benefits. Including benefit is money. How to sustain it so that the condition for actually accessing and also maintaining it, because it's a lifeline. It's not a joke to be on the government help, because if you don't have land, if you don't have means to build your own house, even the house you live in is actually a form of benefit if it is from the government. And even if it is actually, if you think broadly about benefit in the United Kingdom or in a country similar to the UK, the housing you live in actually is supported by the government. The infrastructures actually, that is a form of benefit. The supermarket, the food you buy, because you can afford food because the government is actually intervening to support farmers. This is benefit, directly or indirectly. Healthcare, education, school meals. And if you get pregnant, if you have children, there is child benefit. And a lot of people despise it, especially people who don't realize their own benefit. Everybody is on benefit. Do not despise those on benefit. Some people get more benefit than others. But, everybody who is not a millionaire, who is not a multi-billionaire, is on benefit. Because if you get tax credit, child tax credit, the working tax credit, the work elements, or if you're sick, like employment and support allowance, because you are sick, the government gives you more money to support you with transportation, with buying maybe healthy food. All this is to be appreciated, and we are to actually develop the habit of talking about this as families, individuals, because there are a lot of young people now who are not working, they have left school, and they are looking for work, but they don't want to claim benefit because they think it is a terrible thing to. There's a stigmatization on benefit, and this is actually something which we should learn to, which actually humble ourselves. We need to really mature, grow up, and begin to face. That's a lot of the time people don't go to the hospital because they are afraid that if they are actually found to have some disease, some people will actually think they are wrong and they keep it to themselves. And sometimes you talk to somebody about your life. I'm not saying you should expose your life to everyone. You can keep some element of confidentiality, but the idea is that we need to live. We are living in a very dynamic world, and we need to really deal with pride. We need to deal with if you are going to eat food, eat enough. Don't eat too much food. If you're going to do something with excesses, like we find with multimillionaires, they have too much money. Probably eat too much food, and too much food will kill you. Too much of anything will gonna kill you. So if you see a new clothing, you want everything. You want to buy everything, like a small child. You take a child to the shop. The child is instinctively human, and you find such a child wanting everything in the shop because he's a human being, innocent. But we, as adults, should try to really manage our behaviors, our desires. You go to a home, you find so many things being bought, and they don't even use it. And if you come to my home myself, there is so much things in my home. I don't even know what they are doing. They make my life so complicated. Continue watching so much. Thank you so much. So thank you so much. Welcome back. Continue watching, and like I said, I'm talking about financial support in the United Kingdom for the people who actually need. If you are actually a multimillionaire, you're multi-billionaire, then you don't need it. but a lot of people, common people, actually, directly or indirectly, they actually need financial support, as always. And I'm so excited talking about this. And thank you so much for the various supports you always give. And let us look at employment and support allowance. This is when you're sick. Because talk about employment and support allowance. The government attitude at the moment is for if you are actually on benefit, if you're actually getting money. I was talking about pride, which is actually associated with ignorance. People who do not know anything actually are proud. They don't go to get help. Maybe I am one of them, especially in the hospital. We want to feel that we don't fall sick. We are Superman and Superwoman. And sometimes that is a problem. Pride is a major problem. And he actually works in a complicated way to actually produce a lot of fear and anxiety. Produces a lot of depression and anxiety, which is a form of sickness in its own right. And I've been talking about this because when you are going to claim or even to continue getting sickness benefit, a lot of people actually downplay their sickness. It's like they feel like if they are sick, then something's wrong with them. They are actually inadequate. They are like weak people. We live in a society where competition is actually very rampant, if I should say so. And everywhere, everybody is competing with one another, and life is so hectic, so to speak. And you find that even women and men in the kitchen, in the garden, people are always competing because that is how we have been taught and how now we behave culturally, and we are competitors. So if you are found to be sick, if you are found to be kind of like showing sign of weakness, you become unattractive to your peers, your family, and literally today, if you are in problem, if you lose your job, you might not be able to tell your family or your close friends because of fear of rejection. And you may not, if you're married, you may not tell your wife because your wife may tell the neighbor, and the neighbor may advise your wife to look for another man, or advise you to look for another wife, and vice versa. So all this create a lot of complexities in our life. Our life is complex enough, and growing up is to understand how the culture operate, and also to be as strong and as also positive as possible. You need to be realistic. You have to learn to practice humility. Humility is a sign of strength. It's actually evidence of a confident person. If you learn humility and become realistic thereat, you become more attractive. Even if you are poor, even if you are sick, some people are actually terminally ill, and because the doctor tells them you are going to die within 6 months or 12 months, it is called prognosis. And these prognoses are negative and tragic. People actually deal with it, and that is actually something which is challenging, but it is part of our life. Help coming from the government is one such situation, because people don't go to get this help unless they are in a crisis, which is actually this kind of help relate to the crisis of the cost of living, which is now going on. It will continue to go on because this is a symptom of what is changing in our society. By way of policy and politics, we are moving from an economy of a capitalistic economy, a marketized form of economy, which is actually moving from the one supported by the state to one which is actually free, which is actually something called free enterprise. Philosophically, this means the government is now trying to set us free from, I would say, slavery, because the best way to be free is if you are a slave. If you're not a slave, how can you be free? So when we demand our freedom from the state, we are actually also presuming that the state is somehow is a form of despot, is a form of dictator, and is a form of the kind of autocrat, if you like. I mean, the language may vary, but they use force and sometimes violence, and as opposed to consent. We have tried, at least in theory, but after a point, in terms of culture, cultural praxis, we have actually succeeded to produce a system of democracy where we, during election, we are presumed to give a consent to the government to rule of us. The word rule is not used for diplomatic and also for public relational need. Otherwise, if you are a government, you have to really be tough, and being tough on the citizens. And that is actually the relationship between citizen and the state. The state tells the citizens what to do, and we, being human, are being also born free from the grip, from the from the autocrats of the state, from the tyranny of the law, for example. Seek to break free, to break loose, to achieve our freedom. So this is the underpinning and the outlook of our society, and the product of politics and policy producing a state of affairs which sometimes often manifests in the form of cost of living crisis. This is actually similar to different other crises. You have crisis in the Middle East, in Israel, between Israel and Hamas. You have another in Ukraine. You have crises everywhere. We had the 2008 and 2007 and 8 financial crisis. Modern society is actually awash with incidences of crisis. This means there is actually movement and change and continuity, which is why the role of the government often is actually to intervene, but the government is presuming a sense of maturity as a cultural people of the world. So the British people, as an example, is living in a society of maturity, and you have the British people who are actually demanding freedom from the state, and the government is increasingly now setting the people free, and freedom comes with responsibility. So now, in the past, we used to depend on the government for education, healthcare, housing, public transport, and all pretty much everything. The government taxes us and uses the money to look after us. Is actually helping us to manage our finances. Now we are actually being set free to manage our own affairs, and this is actually creating a lot of havoc, because change is really a very difficult thing, a very challenging thing to deal with. And this is the kind of thing I've been talking about. Leave a comment below and let me know what you are thinking, if you are actually a child, and if you are a youth, a young person, or you're an adult or an elderly. We are all in this together. Especially if you're a young person, there is a sense of inheriting the earth. Value your life. This is a cultural requirement. Value your life and celebrate your life. Be happy. Be happy. Put a big smile on your face, even if you are suffering, if you have pain on your body, if you are sick. So, we talk about sickness. Let us go back to talk about employment support allowance, which is actually a type of sickness benefit, which you can go on the government website to to look for information if you're interested. The reason I'm actually using these functions, income function, if you like, is to back up some of the ideas I've shared with you about the cost of living crisis. Because the more you know about issues of the cost of living crisis, the cost of living crisis is not the only subject to talk about there, because but it is about income, it's about poverty, it's about wealth, it's about economy, it's about the environment. It actually represents different functions of society. It's about, if you want to do business, you have to think about the cost of such a business. You do an inventory if you want to build a house, or if you want to build a car. I mean, we are coming to an age where it is becoming more and more appropriate for us to be jacks of all trades. Computer expert, your medical expert, legal expert, economic expert, financial expert, but also partnering with individuals, whether you know them well, whether you don't know them well. You can always actually talk. We are humans. We may be strangers, but we are humans. In the end, if you get if you get to trust one person or another, then living with them will be normal. And that's why we meet with one another on the street and meet and greet on the street. And some people actually are happy, others are cautious, talking through strangers. But we are human. We can work together. We can actually, we can work with a stranger as long as there is dignity, there is integrity, there is sense of valuing the relationship, the friendship, or whichever one. You can come together and form a group. Form a group. Two people coming together to do something is a group. It's already a group. And you can talk to your local leaders. You can talk to leaders, including local traders, or actually investors, or entrepreneurs, people with money, people who are wealthy. If you have in your community a multimillionaire or a multi-billionaire, you are lucky, but it's so difficult, it's so challenging to actually access important people with power, because the number one priority is actually security. They're trying to protect themselves because they have so much wealth, they have so much responsibility. Their life really matters, because they are leaders, they are multimillionaires, multi-billionaires. Some of them are actually not necessarily super rich, but they have a lot of power, political power given to them legally, and also by policy, but also through politics, like politicians, like a prime minister, like the king of England, the royal family. They have a lot of power, so therefore they are protected. And it's not easy to approach them. Even the police on the street have a lot of power given to them by the law. If you read 1984 Police and Criminal Evidence Act, I think that's the law. Uh, I think it's called PACE. Check on that. It gives a lot of power. I haven't read police law for a long time, but you can find this information online and check the kind of power police has. Police has a lot of power in this country, in the United Kingdom, and also in other parts of the world. In America, they carry assault rifle, very complicated. Even in the UK, if you go to the airport, you find them carrying guns. That is a lot of power. That's why they don't live very closely to ordinary people, because they want to protect themselves. That's how they maintain a semblance of security, a semblance of anonymity, so that they can function well. I'm just trying to explain the dynamics of society. In as much as I'm actually talking about money, I'm also talking about people and how we live our life. Money is for us. We are not for money necessarily. I mean, if you are to choose something first, you have to choose a human being. As long as they have integrity, then you are actually doing well. Otherwise, continue watching. I'm so excited. Thank you so much. Continue watching. welcome back. Talk about money in the United Kingdom and talk about sickness money given by the United Kingdom government to people who need help in this country. Thank you so much for subscribing to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okun. I've been talking about money in the United Kingdom. And watch this video and watch the rest of the video as well. And link this video with this to make more sense. There are a lot of resources on the YouTube platform, and there's a lot of education. We are looking to be free from the state, and therefore with freedom comes responsibility. That's why the government is now, every government department you go to is now emphasizing on responsibility, because the argument for help is not dependency on the state. The argument for giving help to the British people is to strengthen them, to empower them, so that they actually depend on themselves other than depending on the state. And empowerment is what we need, because if we demand freedom from the state, from the tyranny of the law, and also the constraints of policy and practices coming from the state, if we demand our freedom, then it is only appropriate for us to exercise our duties as well. Because you cannot have your cake in life and eat it, especially if you are a child. And from 5 years, from 10 years, from 15 years, you have to take responsibility for yourself. Everybody in the society should take responsibility for themselves. This is a cultural trait, a cultural lifeline, which is actually a route to maturity. Because you cannot be free from the grip of the state, from the tyranny of the rule. You cannot do that unless you become an adult. Even if you are a child and you have to grow up quickly, and for children, if you are lucky enough to be with your parent, then you can relax a little. But don't relax too much, because even adults, even parents are now being faced by children. Children at 5, at 10 are now beginning to develop a new mode of consciousness. 10-year-old, 15-year-olds are now wanting to be free. If you get a 5-year-old, they are trying to assert themselves now. Even at a younger age, even babies now are trying to scream in a special way to say, I want to be free. So we actually have fought for so long, for decades, to be free. And the government is saying, we are setting you free. So when they give us employment support allowance, which is what I'm trying to talk about here, and the money given when you are sick, and because new style employment support allowance, which is given to people who have actually worked. And like I said, the argument for support, which is called benefit in the United Kingdom, the argument is based on the idea of work, which is actually the idea of responsibility. And responsibility, you take responsibility for yourself. I keep repeating this point because people need to get it into their head. Take responsibility for your life. You have rights. You have fought for your rights. The government is now opening doors by actually freeing the country, freeing the economy. We talk about free market system, which is now, if you go to the supermarket, you choose what you want. You have choice. The government doesn't tell you to eat one food or eat another one, or drink another drink, or another one, or sleep in one bed. If you have money, you can actually buy whatever. You can eat whatever you want to eat. You can actually drink whatever you want to drink. You can actually fly in an airplane. You can buy a private jet if you have money. So money is actually a freeing agency. And the problem with money is that it is not really enough. A lot of people are having more money than probably necessary, because the idea of distributing wealth is really remote. And as much as the government is willing to give us freedom, it is really going to be it's kind of like a forlorn hope. It's going to be a forlorn hope that the government gives us freedom without actually any money. And the government doesn't have much money because the system has been changing very rapidly, where money has been shifting from those who have money are getting more money. If you don't have money, you're getting even. A lot of people will be start walking naked because rich people are going to take off even the last dress you are wearing. Oh, in a symbolic way, the last penny in your pocket will be removed by a multi-millionaire, a multi-billionaire, because the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer, and that has been the idea surrounding the system of capitalism, which is the only probably economic system now running the global economy. And we need to be knowing this. And if you are a kid, if you are an adult, you need to know this. I'm just trying to work out the logic of this discussion, because you see, we live in an information age. If you don't learn it from here, go and learn it from somewhere. I can really emphasize the need to learn knowledge. You are brains. You are brains. That brain tells you one thing. You are brain, so use it to learn. Use it to think. A lot of people get information, such as if you hear me say something, if you like it, you listen to the video and click like and click notification bell to get to be notified if I post a new video. And leave a comment and subscribe, share with family and friend, and don't enjoy it alone. Enjoy it with your fellow family, fellow children, fellow youth, fellow adults. Have a good time. But come back to the fact that information is getting more and more and more. We are becoming cleverer and cleverer. Even the younger people are being cleverer than adults, because they are enjoying from the capital of information, the accumulation of information and knowledge. See, we have capital of information and knowledge which are actually accumulated over the decades. And they are in written text, they are in videos like this, and society is becoming more and more dynamic in terms of technology. So I am actually talking about this support, but I'm not only just listing, but I'm just trying to actually examine, to put us in a position to understand the reality of what help the government gives, so that people are prepared when the time comes that things are changing. And it is getting harder and harder to get benefit and support, and also we the people are actually reluctant to get benefit and to get support, to get medical support, to get housing support, to get transportation, even help for our children. If our children, we don't even want to talk to be seen to be complaining, going to our members of parliament. I don't know how easy or complicated it is to access our members of parliament, because as members of families and communities and societies, it is actually the time is now to kind of like engage with our members of parliament, and not just during the time of election, but especially after the election, because it is very human for our members of parliament to relax and celebrate their winnings, or also actually try to recover from their losses if they lose their seats, or if something terrible, if they are ministers, if they are prime ministers, they are going to lose a lot after the election. So it's going to be a personal tragedy. Some member of parliament actually get divorced from their partners, from their wives, from their husbands, because of losing the election. Loss has no boundaries in our lives, because you lose one thing, you lose another thing, you lose almost everything. If you lose your job, you can lose your husband. If you are working, if you are a wife working to earn a living, more and more modern men are actually more interested in women who work, because you see, men are no longer interested in carrying the entire burden of a woman. Women are also wanting to be free from men, because men have been overly controlling women because of money and power. And women also want power now to be free, including children are trying to do some work and young people are thinking of money now because they also want to be free from their parents. They want to be free from everybody. Want to free. We want to be free from the state. The state should stop taxing us, and as they stop taxing us, we stop also getting public service because you see we become free from the state and from the also benefit they give us like building roads. If the government shuts down, we have to build our own roads. You see, now we are benefiting from using the roads. We are benefiting from hospitals. We are benefiting from schools. We are benefiting from airplanes. We are benefiting from the government giving money for research. We are benefiting from the government actually supporting farmers so that they can produce food, which are actually food and drinks which we can afford, and also extra food and that. Because when they do research, they pay experts. These experts actually learn the strengths and weaknesses of food, drinks, medicine, you name it. We benefit from the government all the time, but now the benefit is closing down. The government is setting us free. So we should learn now to benefit from our lives as individuals. That's why individualism is now very important. One size no longer fits all, as they say. One size no longer fits all. We are individuals. We are less and less of society. Really, we are becoming more and more individuals, and we now listen less and less to our parents and to our leaders in societies, our friends, our colleagues. We want to do things independently, and in a sense, we have computers, we have modernity, we have modern equipment, which can help us in this day and age to actually illustrate our approach to independence, to be free from the grip of the state, from the despot, from the dictatorship, if you like, a civil dictatorship as you find in the modern democracy in practice. You don't have to stop at the traffic light anymore. You don't have to really keep to the speed limit because you're free. The government doesn't have to look after you. This is actually bordering on utopianism, which is where we are leading in terms of wealth, in terms of health, in terms of safety and security. Every element of our society is up for grab. We are the British people, we are the people of the world, Europeans, Americans, Asian, Africans. The same in one country or continent, the same in another. Because of globalization, because of harmonization, and other factors of globalization and other factors of localism or regionalism, name them, they are actually interplaying to mold our lives into a certain mode, into a certain direction, which is what we are actually talking about. When we link this information with the benefit, the sickness benefit, as I said, then we begin to realize how complicated, how challenging now to access it, because the government is encouraging us, supporting us to be more independent, supporting us to be more, to empower us, to have more power, giving power back to the people. As such, we love that. We vote for political parties who advocate freedom, who actually don't tax us, who don't borrow in our name. We want our cake, and we also can eat it if we are lucky, if we actually pay attention, because we have to take responsibility for our lives. We then can have our cake and eat it for the first time. That is actually the goal. That is the aim. Because the real world is very, very stressful. It features in terms of the cost of living crisis. Because, change is really a very challenging instrumentation of society. And we are experiencing that. We are embracing that in many ways. And I'm encouraging you under this exercise to embrace change and I will be using this information to illustrate issues surrounding sickness benefit. For example, I've been talking about universal credit. Go to the government website, gov.uk, if your curiosity, to fulfill your curiosity there, and continue watching. Thank you so much. Therefore, women, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. Thank you for continuing to watch. And if you have watched this far, give us a big pat on your back and say a big thank you to yourself. You are a champion, and you are warmly welcome to this family, my YouTube family, my family platform. And I'm talking about how we live our lives and how we relate to wealth and also our health, and also how we use our brains to think, to learn, to understand how the world works, to access information by, say, for example, reading books, listening to videos. And it's not in vain that you do this thing, because once you do it, then it's going to actually strengthen you. It's going to empower you if you're a child, if you are a youth, if you are an adult, if you are an elderly. Because the government is actually setting us free. The slogan, the mantra is actually freedom for all. And we want it now. We want the government to leave us alone from the grip of society. Therefore, the government is listening to us and setting us free from the grip, from the tyranny of the law, from the encasing of policies which actually oppresses us. By its nature, the government is there to rule over people, and that's what it is. Because it cannot actually, provide something it doesn't have. The purpose of setting up a government is to rule over people, and we have introduced the idea of democracy as actually a conduit, as a route out of oppression, as a route out of tyranny, as a route out of oppression, of slavery. We want to be free, and the government is doing us a favor. It's setting us free, shutting down the public sector, renewing society, investing in infrastructure and capitalism, and actually opening new avenue opportunities like technology, or under which I speak. A big shout out, a big up to YouTube as an infrastructure of freedom of speaking and freedom of actually enterprising. And thank you so much to the people who thought it out, who created the YouTube platform. And every YouTuber, every content creator, every user should give thank you. Gratitude actually leads to your attitude, and your attitude determines your altitude. And you have to be grateful. You have to really be a positive mental attitude, and your attitude should really be good, and that will determine your your promotion. I mean, your altitude. Altitude means the how far you go, how high you grow. And this is actually, we are living in a period season of extreme excitement. I'm so happy that you came here to talk to me. Leave a comment below and let me know what your thoughts are. I've been recently getting a lot of positive feedback, and I'm so full of energy and so energized. We had a lovely Easter. Happy Easter in retrospect, because we have already gone past Happy New Year. And I actually realized that the 1st of April is actually Fool's Day. I don't know who you fool. Leave a comment below and let me know what you fool, who you fool on the 1st of April. And leave a comment below. So of course I didn't actually double check to know, because I haven't thought of Fool's Day for a long time. We used to do a lot of funny things when we were younger. And also, from time to time, you fool people. I don't really know how it works. But in practice, these kind of things, leave a comment below and let me know the legality of Fool's Day. If you kind of like fool somebody so badly that they hurt themselves, or if somebody dies because you fool them, what is the government going to say? I mean, what is your thoughts about Fool's Day? I think, we should give it a thought. What we are, for example, I'm going to check maybe today or tomorrow, double check to be sure that the 1st of April is actually Fool's Day. I didn't fool anybody because I forgot about it, and I don't know how to fool people, but I will try maybe next year, because it only comes once a year. So God's willing, and my prayers for the country of Great Britain, the country of the United Kingdom, and of the world, everybody in the world. I mean, let us also live long, and healthy, live many years, so that we can have so many fool's days and fool's whatever, and fool so as many people as possible. But I have to be careful. So I'm reflecting on the season of our Easter. It has gone past so quickly, and time really flies. And before we know it, here in the UK, we are in spring now, and sooner or later we're in summer, and the cycle continues. And what is not to like? We are so excited. And I've been talking about financial help given to the British people, to the United Kingdom people, by the United Kingdom government. I am using this information to illustrate the broader point of policy and politics, and also the cultural aspect of our life, how we value our life, how we value the life of our families and friends, and also valuing the life of strangers. And we don't create dangerous situations like you find in the Middle East, with wars going on there, and with a lot of fighting in Ukraine, with a lot of violence going around the world. You don't do that if you value human life. And culturally, we have a long way to go. Developmentally, we have done really well. We have technology, we have wealth. The wealth is actually concentrated into the hand of the few, taken away from the hand of the many. And so if you have something, you get more. So get knowledge so that you get more knowledge. Knowledge can actually be a source of your health and also your wealth. And you learn also to take away money from the super rich in a nice way, because you have really suffered as a poor person. And poverty is when you're not a multimillionaire or a multimillionaire, but you could say, if you're really in the middle class, in the middle class category, perhaps you would prefer not to see yourself as being poor. But I would say this: the British government can get British people out of poverty. Build houses for everybody who cannot buy outright. Build houses and give it for the British people for free. And if you tell the government this, they will probably think you are actually insane. But you are not, because there is a lot of wealth. The world is enough. There is so much wealth. Take it from the rich. If you cannot tax rich people because you are afraid of them or anything, go, if you are actually the Prime Minister of Britain, go and kneel before rich people to take some of their money, give it to the government to build houses for the British people. Today, not tomorrow. Build houses for everyone. And, the market is not going to collapse. The housing market is not going to collapse because the British people are being given free property. Property, housing to live in should not be commercialized. That is actually the same thing as, taking a gun and shooting a human being dead. If you commercialize food, you commercialize housing, you commercialize public transport, you commercialize education. These are lifelines. Beginning from food and energy and housing. These are the things which, if you don't have, you are going to die. Especially if you're in the UK. Are you going to survive in the cold? Because you can't even afford to buy warm clothing. You can't afford to buy food. Can't afford to buy anything. These things should not be commercialized at all. Even clothing. The government should build factories to produce free clothing, especially winter clothing and protective shoes. We talk about PPE during COVID-19, and shamedly, in a country like Britain, people were made to buy PPE. What has happened to the government? I mean, you say, what kind of brain do you have? You make people buy PPE for a pandemic like COVID-19. I was so shocked. And also, when people are quarantining, poor people who don't have money they are trying to return to the United Kingdom. The government make them stay in hotels and pay for the hotel from their pockets. So they were actually incarcerated in foreign countries. They couldn't fly back because they didn't have money. And this is the kind of violence, if you like, economic violence, financial violence, a policy violence, ideological. I don't know what language to use for the government to listen, because you see, in Exma says you're trying to shut down the public sector to free us, the people of Britain, rich and poor. Make sure before you shut down the country, make sure the playing field is actually leveled, so that British people and the people of the world, and I know the British people do not act in isolation. They work with America, with continents like Asia and Africa, and that is a normal thing, because we are normal people. We have actually conquered the world with technology. We the communication and transportation and all sorts of things. We are actually getting better and better in terms of our development. What I am talking about as a lack is actually our culture. Let us renew our culture. Let us actually think protection. Let us value humanity first. We cannot throw the child with the bucket. We need to protect one another. We are humans. If you are Prime Minister of this country, if you are the King of Britain, we are humans. Let us treat people as people. Let us give dignity to our people. Let us actually get rid of the cost of living crisis today throughout the world. If you go to Africa, you will see how Africans live. That should stop today. The people fighting in the Middle East should stop fighting. I don't know how they're going to do that, because they are insane. The only way you can fight if you're a human being, because you don't think, you don't know anything. You may think you're actually doing something sensible. This is evidence of insanity. Israel is fighting the Arabs at the state level. I mean, I don't know, these terrorists in the Middle East, I don't know whether they have states or whatever. These things are happening. They have been happening within our human society. Look at it from the point of view of humanity. Children are fighting children. Adults are fighting children. They are insulting each other. There is so much hatred. There is a lot of controversy. We are so confused. It should stop today. We should actually now begin to see the light. So much darkness in our society. We cannot live like this anymore. We have to, whether we are rich or poor, it is not a ticket if you are rich. It is not a ticket if you are poor to be violent. Don't be violent. If you want to be violent, but you're a loser. You will lose. We may be competitors. I don't know what we are actually competing about, because we are humans. We are supposed to be friends. We are competing in sports. We are competing in politics. We are competing in religion. Israel is probably fighting the Arabs because of faith, because of religion. Irish were fighting England, and there were wars between, there are terrorists in Northern Ireland, maybe because of religion. There have been wars in Europe, maybe because of religion. We are competing about religion, about God. Some people think their God is better than the other. It's like saying their mother is better than other person's mother. I mean, that's us. So we can learn. There's hope. Because we are given to learn. We have brains. We can go to school. We can actually stay at home with technology and actually learn, especially if you're already retired. You're on government pension in the United Kingdom. Pension is enough. That is credit to the government of the developed world. Unlike in the third world, when you get pension and just suffer. And these are actually money. You talk about money. And that's why I actually chose to actually discuss these points to help us, to tell us that the government of Britain actually gives money, which is actually sickness money. I've been talking in this way because I have videos already recorded which have been talking about financial support, but I also given you a link, gov.uk, if you're specifically interested in money. And going forward, I will talk about money. Continue watching.
Lupanga wali otanga kwenye Kupa kwenye Luma yabo yona ngara loropi Tumone nani tenge ba Miya yom jin ngara geope Tumone nani tenge ba Yabo yona ngara geope Tumone nani tenge ba Miya yom jin ngara geope Tumone nani tenge ba Yabo yona ngara loropi Wang maloyo Ba yobo yo ngara loropi Iwe wang ma o You dum ma poro waga tuna yom Wang ma miela You dum ma poro waga tuna yom Wang ma nyono You dum ma lenga waga miela ni Wang ma nyono miela Wang ma nyeno waga tuna yom Wang ma poyo ruwa Wang ma nyeno waga tuna yom Ni a poyo ruwa Ni graduation waga tuna yom Dobere yo Yo wana waga miela ni Yen dobere yo Yo nyona ni waga tuna yom Wang ma miela Yo nyomo sina no tuna yom Wang ma nyono miela Morena Uru winning
You are warmly welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is David Okon. You're welcome. If you haven't subscribed to my channel. We are actually summarizing our conversation. I've been talking about new style employment and support allowance. This is actually a type of benefit, which actually is a type of money given to people who need it, people who are sick, who are on low income. It's called new style because it is given to people who have worked enough to pay national insurance contribution and that qualifies them when they are on low income. Watch this video and the rest of the video. We are coming to an end, and I'll see you in the next video. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed, and if you are in you are actually set in a group, which I will continue from here to explain this notion, these concepts, this policy, which is actually to illustrate, to see what the UK government does for the UK people. If you can learn, you can learn about their policy, the policy of the United Kingdom, wherever you are in the world. You can learn the policy of the United Kingdom and also compare with your country, what kind of help, especially pension. But this actually the kind of support given to people of working age. If you are a pensioner, you get some other benefit. I've actually explained it in the other video. And go to gov.uk, go to the government website in your country, the government website in your country. But if you're in another country, you can also access the UK website. And a lot of people actually would ask me why talking about the United Kingdom is relevant to their country. I have said it repeatedly. We are a global world. We used to be nationalists. Now we are globalists. Because, the market system, the system of capitalism is operating in the West, is operating in the East, is operating in Africa, is operating everywhere. If you are learning about doing business in the United Kingdom, it's going to be similar or the same in terms of framework and also program in your country, especially if you're in Africa, doing small and medium business. There are markets there, local markets on the streets where people go and buy food and energy and clothing, medicine. This is actually what the market look like. Those are small rural. Maybe the structure is maybe different in Africa or wherever on street markets in developed world. There are markets actually of different sizes, small, medium, and big markets, corporate markets. People who actually investors, entrepreneurs. So I am so happy. Let us stop this video here, and we're going to talk about what we have just talked about. The benefit, the money, because we have talked about it before. And going forward, we will continue illustrating. There are moments when I just go through the process and talk about specifics. And today, because we took a break from doing this exercise, from talk about money, we actually were talking about Easter, and Easter has passed. So I'm doing actually kind of a summary, actually a prologue to going forward with this conversation. Subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't subscribed, and share with family and friends. Subscription is free, and thank you for joining us. Click like and click notification bell for more, and leave a comment below. See you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.